All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're cracking open a truly mind-bending book, Steven Pinker's How the Mind Works. And we're going to challenge an idea that so many of us just take for granted about, well, our own minds.
So, let me ask you something right off the bat. Do you think your mind started out as a complete blank slate? You know, like an empty computer just waiting for life to install all the software. It's a really common idea, and for a long, long time, it was the idea. But today, yeah, we're going to take that idea apart piece by piece.
Okay, so first things first, we're going straight for this blank slate illusion. Let's really dig into where our knowledge actually comes from.
You know, the biggest piece of evidence against this whole blank slate thing is something we all have. It's common sense. I mean, think about it. All this deep, intuitive knowledge we have about how the world works. But who taught it to us? Did anyone ever sit you down and give you a lesson on it? Probably not. And this is where Pinker just brilliantly nails it with these amazing, kind of funny examples of things you just know, right? You know for a fact that when Edna goes to church, her head goes with her. You are 100% sure that wild zebras do not wear underwear, that a gerbil is just a little bit smaller than Mount Kilimanjaro. You don't get nervous that opening a fresh jar of peanut butter might, vaporize your entire house. And you just instinctively get that people don't shove meat thermometers in their ears. It's hilarious, right? But it's also incredibly profound. This stuff isn't learned. It's like the factory-installed operating system for being human.
So, okay, if the mind isn't a blank slate, then what is it? Well, Pinker gives us a really powerful way to think about it. Imagine the mind is a kind of computer, a super sophisticated computational system.
But hold on, that just opens up another can of worms, doesn't it? What does it even mean for a system to be intelligent? Is it just about being really, really fast? Having a ton of processing power? Well, as you're about to see, it is way, way trickier than that.
To get at this, there's this fantastic thought experiment from the philosopher Daniel Dennett. It really gets to the heart of a huge problem in AI called the frame problem. So picture this. You've got a robot, and its whole job is just to get a battery. Simple, right? Well, robot version 1 sees the battery on a wagon, pulls the wagon, but it doesn't deduce that the bomb also on the wagon is coming along for the ride. Boom. Okay, so for version 2, they program it to consider every single side effect of its actions. So it starts calculating. Pulling the wagon won't change the color of the walls. Pulling the wagon won't affect the orbit of Jupiter. And while it's doing that, the bomb explodes. Boom again. All right, let's try one more time. Version 3 is designed to sort what's relevant from what's irrelevant. Sounds smart, right? But it just sits there, completely frozen, trying to sift through millions and millions of facts as the timer on the bomb ticks down. And you know what happens next? Boom.
So what was the problem? What did that poor robot miss? It's the ability to ignore stuff, to just push aside all the junk that doesn't matter. See, real intelligence isn't about calculating everything. It's about having the right mental programs to figure out what's actually relevant. And that common sense we were talking about, that's our brain's elegant solution to this ridiculously hard problem.
Okay, so this leads us to the next logical step, and it's a big one. If our minds are running all this amazing software, who wrote the code? Who was the programmer?
The answer, Pinker argues, is a field called evolutionary psychology. And the core idea is pretty straightforward. It's about looking at the mind as a collection of, well, computational organs almost. And these organs were designed by one thing and one thing only: natural selection. They evolved to solve the very specific kinds of problems our ancestors had to deal with to survive.
And this chart really shows you what a huge shift this is. On one hand, you have the old school model. The mind's a blank slate, and culture teaches us everything. Nurture is the whole story. But on the other hand, you have evolutionary psychology, which says, hang on a second. The mind comes with some built-in structures. Our behavior isn't just learned. It's this incredible, complex dance between our genes, our nature, and our environment, our nurture. It's both.
And here's the kicker, the really important part to get. This mental software we're all running, it wasn't designed for the 21st century. It wasn't built for scrolling through social media or trading cryptocurrency or sitting in traffic. No way. It was designed, tested, and fine-tuned over millions of years to solve the hardcore, life-or-death problems of the Stone Age. Things like finding food, avoiding predators, and finding a mate.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because once you have this framework, you can start to, well, reverse engineer things. You can look at our most powerful, most confusing, and sometimes most irrational feelings, our emotions, and see the logic behind them.
So let's tackle a big one. Maybe the biggest one of all. Why do we fall madly in love? I mean, really think about it. If you look at it from a cold, logical point of view, it seems totally bonkers. Absolutely insane.
Okay, so picture the whole dating scene as a kind of marketplace. It's a bit cold, but stick with me. We're all kind of looking for the best deal we can get, right? The best partner who will also choose us. But that sets up a massive fundamental risk. What's to stop your partner from leaving you the second they find someone they think is better?
This is a classic strategic problem, and it's called the commitment problem. How do you prove to someone that you're in it for the long haul? How can you guarantee that you won't just trade up the moment it seems like a rational thing to do? And that is where love comes in. The solution, the evolutionary answer, is to find a partner who isn't with you because of a rational calculation. They're with you because of an emotion that they didn't choose to have, and so they can't just choose to turn it off. That crazy, irrational, all-consuming feeling of being madly in love isn't a glitch in the system. It is the system. It's the ultimate commitment device. It's nature's way of saying, hey, this bond is real, it's not just a business deal.
So, let's bring this all together. What's the big takeaway for us living right now in this crazy modern world that's nothing like the one our minds were built for?
I think the best way to sum up Pinker's whole idea is this simple, powerful metaphor. We are all running Stone Age software on modern hardware. Our gut feelings, our deepest emotions, our immediate reactions, they were all programmed for a world that doesn't exist anymore.
But listen, that's not a reason to be pessimistic. Not at all. In fact, it's the opposite. It's incredibly empowering. Because when you understand the original design of your own mind, you can finally start to understand why you feel the things you feel and why you think the things you think. It's the first step to becoming a better pilot of your own brain. And that really brings us to the big, final question that I want to leave you with. If it's true, if our minds really are ancient products of the Stone Age, then how are we supposed to navigate the completely wild, complex modern world we find ourselves in? Something to think about.